In a stunning contest last night in Delhi, the de facto home ground of the Afghanistan, England found themselves on the wrong side of the result. Yes, the defending champions found themselves on the other side. We said on the earlier program, if the World Cup could produce an upset, and guess what? Afghanistan stunned the defending champions England to sneak out with a 69-run win. Just who saw that coming? Christopher Mpofu. Yeah, definitely not Butler, not Root, and not Malan, even not Adil Rashid, England's best spinner either. After putting up a fighting 284 on the board, thanks to a blinder by opener Gurbaz, 80 of 57 deliveries, Afghanistan got a boost down the order thanks to the keeper Ikram scoring a timely 50. In reply, on a turning pitch that had everything for the spinners, Rashid and company wasted no time whatsoever to challenge England. Bairstow, Malan and Root falling to Farooqi and Nabi and Mujib respectively only made 45 together. Further disappointment came with Butler and Livingstone failing when the runs were needed. Only Harry Brook could stand up to the Afghanistan spin trials somewhat as he scored his maiden World Cup 50. 8 of England's wickets fell to spinners. Yes, 8 of them. What came indeed now? Let's shift our attention to the big game at Lucknow today, where the down if not out Aussies play Sri Lanka. Oh my God, what a World Cup it has been. Remember, both teams are looking for a win, and both of them, yes, in between them, have won 6 World Cups. Did we ever see that coming? The answer is no. Joining me are 3 guests, international players, former journalists and everyone who've seen the match yesterday. We're going to talk to them about this project and the match that happened yesterday. Tasmin Granga, Zimbabwe cricketer. Tasmin, yesterday we felt the tremors in Delhi, and I think more so the effect was felt in the dressing room in England. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, definitely. I think England didn't see this one coming. Not too sure what was going through their mind as they went through their processes. We did speak about it in studio yesterday, that spin will play a big deal, and I think where Afghanistan probably got it right was playing to their own strength as opposed to trying to re-strategize for the English. Great option from them opening up with Mujib at the start. We've seen that he put on the pressure earlier up front. I think he personally caused the pressure for the wicket to come in the second over. Not to mention he kept going at it until they obviously kept finding breakthroughs consistently, not really giving the Aussies, the English, a chance to set up anything.
Well, they could not set up anything. They could not even set up their own dressing room, just let alone winning the match yesterday. They were completely out thanks to Gurbaz's batting prowess. Do you think he took them completely by surprise?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think they had actually marked him as a possible target in the batting order. Probably they had their focuses set on the captain as well. But great innings from him. We'll keep mentioning it. He took it to the seamers at the start of the first 10 overs. We know that they had them cruising at 79 for no loss after 10 overs, as opposed to the English just in the mid-40s, early 40s. I think that's where they set the tone for the game. Not to mention, we did speak about the fact of the middle overs being very important, and they managed to restrict. England lost 7 wickets in the period of 10 to 40 overs, and that was a big deal for them.
7 wickets. Oh, that's amazing. And especially when you have a defending champion. I think when they met, all the captains met prior to the opening ceremony, the skipper said, "We are not here to defend the World Cup. We are here to win the World Cup." It sounded, to some of them, to some of the fans, it sounded a little odd, but that's how the nature of the beast is. Do you think the egos are bruised for England because they've taken back-to-back? They've taken 2 big defeats. I'm just going to show you what they look like on screen, what the standing looks like, and it's laughable. It's the way it is coming out. It's astonishing. Are you surprised the way things are turning up in this World Cup?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you got big teams like Australia and England and all these guys sitting at the bottom of the log. I'm not sure when last this has actually happened on the log at any World Cup standing. So as you know, I'm all for the underdogs, just like Chris. I love to see a bit of a shocker here and there, and I like the change. I like the switch in power that's definitely going on. It shows you that the gap between obviously the top playing Test Nation teams and the teams that are coming up that have always been lower ranked is getting smaller and smaller, causing the game to be more competitive.
Yes, of course, it's getting more competitive, but at the same time, the big teams are falling. I mean, who could have thought West Indies could not make it? But let's shift our focus. Just stay on the match yesterday. There was a battle going on between Rashid versus Rashid. Just take our viewers through about what it was. Two of the best spinners of this generation.
Yeah, definitely. Two of the best spinners, both leg spinners as well. We had a debate earlier on in the studios at the innings break about which Rashid would come out tops. Just things for you to remember was Rashid from England took out Rashid from Afghanistan, as well as in the reply, Rashid from Afghanistan took out Rashid from England. So I think it's a great contest between the two. Obviously, two great players. You can't exactly match the two. One's been in the game for as long as you could possibly see for England, and the other's just coming up as well. So I think for me, it's a big deal. We've seen great variation coming out from Rashid Khan yesterday. He used a couple of deliveries. We've seen him get one to bowl faster. We've seen him use a carrion ball as well yesterday. Great variations coming out of him.
Right. This is for all our viewers. We have a special guest joining us, Tristan Lavalette, the ESPN Crick Info Forbes contributor, who's joining us live from Australia. Chris, what hasn't gone wrong quite for the team with the most World Cup titles to their name, Aussies?
So what hasn't gone right for Australia so far in the World Cup? Well, they've lost their first two matches pretty convincingly to India and South Africa. They've looked pretty ordinary in the field, very sloppy, dropped a lot of catches against South Africa. Their bowling has been pretty flat without a second spinner. They're reliant on Adam Zampa, who's struggling a little bit with the shoulder injury at the moment. They don't have Ashin Agar, who was their second spinner. He's back in Australia with a calf injury, so he was ruled out. They're having to rely on Glenn Maxwell as a second bowler, spin bowler, and he's done quite well so far, but it's a big burden on him throughout the tournament to be the second spinner. And they're just not firing with the bat. Haven't had someone make a big
Chris,
score.
I'm going to hold you
They really
here.
need David Warner or Steve Smith to fire.
Chris, I'm going to hold you on here. Which player today holds the key, considering Aussies are on a weaker side today? Your views, quick.
Key bowler for who is a key player against Sri Lanka.
That's
I
correct.
think it will be probably Adam Zampa. I think he's someone who, if Australia are going to try to win their sixth World Cup, he's really going to have to fire with the ball. He's their main spinner. He's had a very good record over the last few years. A very key player for Australia's white ball teams. But he hasn't fired so far. He's struggled quite badly in the first two matches, so he's really going to have to be at his best, not only against Sri Lanka, but deeper in the tournament if Australia are going to win the title. So I'd say Adam Zampa is going to have to really improve against Sri Lanka in what is basically a must-win game for Australia against Sri Lanka.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining with us before the all-important main. We now shift our focus to Chaya Mughal, the captain of the UAE women's cricket team. It's always nice to get a different perspective, and that's what we're trying to get and share it with our fans. Remember, yesterday, Christopher said, let's download the upset of the World Cup, and it happened. That's what these diverse voices help our fans to understand, take us through. What you're seeing on your television right now, ladies and gentlemen, is an exclusive, only on any news channel you're getting. This wagon wheel, the roadmap, everything put together, all the statistics, which you perhaps get it on the sports channels, but for the benefit of our fans, we're getting it exclusive. Now, let's shift our focus to another lady, Chaya Mughal, who's seen there, been there, done all. Chaya, how much pressure are Australians facing at the moment?
Almost a must-win situation for Australia, and I would say they will certainly be under some sort of pressure, because a third straight loss from here would mean that Aussies will have to push against all the remaining 6 games if they want to be in the semis. The Aussies have struggling in all the three departments, be it bowling, batting or fielding.
Yes.
None of the batters have been able to score even a half century.
Yeah.
The bowlers are not able to get wickets and they are oozing out runs like anything. The fielders have been very sloppy to say the least. But I would say that Australians normally, when they are pushed in the corner, I think they come out and they play their best cricket. So World Cup hopes will still be there, provided if they get the first 2 points on the table with this win in the game.
Well, those are strong words by Chaya. Sloppy fielding. Who would have thought a couple of decades ago that Australia would be called sloppy live on television? Well, that's how the reality is. Sri Lanka haven't had an exceptional record as well versus Australia in the World Cups. Yes, 96 was another story, but what happens today is the chance of survival between the two countries. Chaya, your views on this?
Well, I think the best thing about the Sri Lankan side is that on both the occasions they were able to score more than 300 runs in this tournament so far. However, the problem is that they are conceding the runs even at a higher pace. I think spinners would definitely fancy their chances if they want to make an impact in this game against the ailing Australian side. Mahesh Dikshana, if he is among the top wicket takers today, I think that will definitely put them in a better position today. A good spell from him would inspire the other bowlers also to bowl well. Sri Lanka would definitely be hoping the Lucknow wickets would be a bit turning so that they could get their first 2 points on the board.
Well, I'm going to go on to Tasneem right now. Tasneem, do you feel those were strong words against Australia, who's somewhere languishing down at the bottom, perhaps even worse than Netherlands, who are like the babies of the World Cup? Do you think this is the modern day cricket at its best?
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, you can see the gap between obviously those domineering teams that have been in the game that long, sitting at the top of the table, definitely getting challenged by a lot smaller teams. I think it's great personally, and I have to support Chaya on this one. It's been crazy for Australia out in the field. Their fielding has dropped, their bowling is crazy, and they've failed to cross the 200 mark entirely as a team. So I think they have a lot to desire in all three departments. Hopefully today they can try and come out to the show. Otherwise, I definitely believe they will find a tough challenge.
Well, another person who's joining us on the show is former Zimbabwean cricketer, the man who's accurate with the crystal ball gazing, Christopher Fofo. I think I get it right this time. But nevertheless, we get his name right and he gets the prediction right. That's more important. Can Australia win this literal do or die game for survival for themselves, Chris? Fofo.
Yeah, I definitely think Australia will come on top on this game. Yes, they've lost 2 games in a row, crucial games, but I've got a feeling, and I'm sure they'll definitely do well against Sri Lanka in this game today, and I'm really looking forward to it. And you know, I feel like they haven't achieved what they would have wanted as a team. They haven't, you know, did themselves justice in terms of bowling the way they would want to and batting the way they would want to. But I have got a feeling, and I definitely know that they are a good team.
Chris, I'm going to stop you here. Which is the player they would like to neutralize right now if they were to get into the duel today? Chris?
I definitely think the player that they would love to neutralize, that they would love to take out early. At this moment, the man in form for Sri Lanka is Kusal Mendis. He's been playing and batting very brilliantly. He's been much positive. It's one of the, yes, I know that he's a positive player, but lately he's been one of those batters that loves to take it to the opposition, and I love the approach that he has. He never gives the bowlers a chance to be circled. So I think Kusal Mendis will be their trump card and someone that they will look to take out early. So yes, Australia, that's the man that they will target.
Thank you, Christopher. We'll let you go and take some sleep because it's very early morning out here in Zimbabwe. I'm going to shift our focus to another Zimbabwean who's present in our studio. Tasneem, Sri Lanka likes to throw some surprise. Do you think today is the day if they have to do that and completely eliminate the chances of Australia if they were to make a comeback ever?
Yeah, definitely. So a big do or die game for both teams. I think it's going to come down to which team backed into the corner is willing to stand up and fight for themselves again. Obviously, Sri Lanka's been doing really well with the bat if you consider it. They've crossed the 300 mark twice. Obviously bleeding runs here and there with their bowlers. But a possible change today in their order, we'll see Chanika Kunaratanan coming in. And he definitely offers an option for you because he's a bowling all-rounder. Hoping he comes in with the ball and he does some magic for them.
Do you think the Sri Lankans are back with the bowling all-rounders coming into the team, and because they've got batting lineup and they've got options in bowling? Do you think that team makes it rich considering what they've done at the pre-qualifiers, pre-World Cup qualifiers? Your views?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, they are missing a few key players in their bowling lineup, but we've seen some guys stepping up. We've seen them coming in, and like Chris has just said, Kusal Mendes is a big deal for them right now at this stage. Taking on as well today the fact that the Australians have not managed to cross the 200 mark. I will keep saying this, as these are the big batting giants that have always been in the game. I think Sri Lanka definitely stands a chance of causing the second upset and possibly killing Australia's deal today.
What if Australia is out? What do you think the press would be talking about? Because remember, these are the guys who refused to play in Sri Lanka in the 1996, traveled to Sri Lanka to play because of the situation there. Second point, they called Muralitharan for his bowling. Do you think they have some scores to settle, especially with Ian Healy and Ranatunga getting into that deal? Of course, I'm going to take the fans back 20 years ago, what happened, but today is the time to have a look and perhaps take a dig at the Aussies, who've been little unkind with their words against their opponents.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe they do have a score to settle. We know in the past encounters, the past 10 encounters, Australia has won 8 games and Sri Lanka just the one, as well as one that's just had settled with no result.
Do you think these statistics matter when you walk into an all-important game like this? Do you think, or it's all out of the window?
No, I think personally it's all out the window because it's a do-or-die situation. You can't base past experiences on their current form right now that they are currently going through.
Well, of course, we're going to take one last question. If Chris has just joined back, Christopher Mupofu, if he's joined back, we're going to take one last question from him about who's going to be Sri Lanka's all-important player. Chris, if you can hear us. Anyways, we'll come back to Christopher in a while. Another question to you is, do you think Sri Lanka is out to redeem themselves? Are they in redemption mode, considering they had to come back, they had to go through the qualification process, a rigorous qualification process, playing 8 teams and defeating all of them. In fact, they got all the teams all out in their thing. Your views?
So yeah, definitely they had a great qualifiers. Obviously they played in Zimbabwe. I was there to see a couple of those upsets. And I think they had great form leading up into this tournament. Maybe the recipe for disaster, not too sure what happened as they started their campaign. Obviously 2 losses at the start of this, but they will be able to look back at recent performances and consider themselves able to take on the hurdle that is Australia. You must realize leading up to this, Australia has lost consecutively 7 ODI matches out of the 8 that they've played. Sri Lanka obviously has a better form coming in from qualifiers leading into this tournament.
All right. I think very soon we're going to have the team standing on our on where do we stand. We're talking about the world champions. We're talking about some of the better players that have been there. But this stat is very concerning. If you were a former Australian legend who picked up the World Cup trophy, 7 out of the 8 matches they have lost. Yes, I repeat, 7 out of their 8 matches they have lost, and this is what it calls. It makes the opposition look good, especially when the opposition is vying for your blood, and it's a matter of survival between Sri Lanka and Australia today. I've got, very soon we'll have it on our screen, but I'll read out. India is at the top of the table with 3 wins. New Zealand at number 2, South Africa at number 3, and Pakistan at number 4. England, Afghanistan, Bangladesh follow at 5, 6 and 7. However, yes, the number 8th team today is Sri Lanka. The 9th team is Netherlands. And there we have on our screen the number 10 team on the standing of the World Cup is Australia. Yes, I repeat, it's Australia. Never we could have thought that they would go far and go beyond number 4 or 5. They are at number 10. Netherlands number 9. Sri Lanka number 8. 7 is Bangladesh. 6 is Afghanistan. 5 is England. Pakistan is at 4. South Africa is at 3, New Zealand is number 2, and India. Again, India is at number 1 after 3 matches, and today when these teams play all the 3 matches, round of 3 matches, we'll get to know where we stand. But good part is that we have thrown up some new names in the top 4 who could have given South Africa the run of being the top 4 team in the World Cup after the 3 matches. Remember, you've got to look at, when you look at the screen, you've got to look at the table standing in a cluster of 3 matches. The first 3 match, the second 3 match, and the third 3 matches cluster, because that's going to define who's going to be your semi-final things. Remember, this is a round robin part where all teams play each other, and this is what we are getting into. Top 4 teams play each other in the semi-final. The number 1 team plays usually the number 4 team in the bracket. Why? Because they've worked hard to maintain their number, therefore they get the weakest team in the link. But we'll confirm that in a while. But now I'm going to wrap up this show by asking Tasmin, if you're okay to take this call and this question, did you ever think Aussies would be at number 10 in a World Cup after 3 matches?
No, definitely not. We used to seeing them, like you said, in the top 4 after the first 3 rounds of games, and it's different. It's definitely different. So much going on at this World Cup, and I think it's a good switch in pace personally, because teams are working hard out there. You do find lower ranked teams pushing the agenda throughout the year, trying to play as much cricket as they can in different locations around the countries. So definitely, I give all credit and props to the smaller teams this World Cup for coming out.
Absolutely, you have to give credit where it's due. But another statistics, again, we talk about the game of statistics. Sports is all about statistics. We've give you another, stat, and this is one of the 3 teams will qualify. The way things are going as of now, Australia, England, and Pakistan. Only 1 will qualify. Yes, I repeat, out of these 3, only 1 will qualify for the semi-final because of the way England and Australia have fared thus far in the tournament, and they've been languishing really hard. They've had impossible losses against the team that they should be scoring and getting their net run rate up. Remember, it's not about the points on the table, it's about the net run rate too. What you see it on the extreme right with on the yellow, that's what defines. But again, good news coming for the Indian fans. India is number 1 and Australia is at number 10. That's what we've never thought we'll see a day like this, but it's time for Indian fans to rejoice.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.